It gives us joy to join you here. Welcome to the Primetime News here on Joy News on Multi TV. Coming up tonight, parties in election petition comply with the Supreme Court directive that they filed their written addresses ahead of the resumption of sitting tomorrow. President Mahama directs Attorney General to institute measures to build the capacity of state attorneys to improve on their efficiency. Constitution Review Commission Implementation Committee begins review of the labor law to grant working men paternity leave for the very first time. And preliminary report on clinical examination of parents who kept their 3 children in isolation has confirmed they are suffering from a condition but recommends another test. Mad rush for national identification cards in the Upper West region as residents worry about a 10-day deadline for registration. We also have business, sports, showbiz and international news coming up if you stay with us. All right, welcome now to the details. Now, parties in the ongoing election petition hearing have filed their addresses with the registrar of the Supreme Court. The petitioners challenging the results of the 2012 general elections were the first to conclude the process, having presented 32 boxes each containing legal documents and CD-ROMs to back their claims that the elections were indeed flawed. The Electoral Commission, the second respondent in the presidential election petition, later filed theirs, being led by the head of audits, Joseph Asamoah, with a 15-page document, 19 copies each, in a vehement defense of their claim that the 2012 elections were free and fair. They were then followed by the 2 other respondents with separate addresses. Now, Joy News' Anil Sabote, who was at the court, joins me in the studio with some more on the process. Good evening to you, Annie, and welcome to the news. Now, tell us, you've been following this since it started. What more can you tell us about this court case? We're told that I understand that not all of them have filed their addresses?
Precisely. So remember on the 17th of this month, and when the courts gave the directive that they ought to file, and the deadline was supposed to be today. So today we went to the courts with the understanding that the process will be happening. But and also again we also understood that both John Mahama and the NDC will file a single written address. Aye. But it turns out that Mahama filed separately. His was done by Kojoga Dawudu. So we're waiting for the NDC to do same. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. The understanding I have, no reason has been given as I speak to you, but an understanding I have is that they're going to do that tomorrow. Yeah.
Now, earlier on, what I heard was that both sides are going to do it at the same time, so that you do not have an upper hand, sort of. It doesn't work like that at all.
Well, no. What I saw around 2:30, 2:30, the petitioners came in, and 2 of their lawyers, Alex Kweno and Kwekwe Sefi, they came with assisting boxes of the written address and a soft copy of that, and then they have 2 attachments that I understand contain the table that they filed. So when they left, around 4:15, the Kojoga Dawudu, who speaks for the NDC, came in. And he came in, and so the impression we got was that it was filing on behalf of both the president and that of the NDC. But then it was there, he told her that he was filing for the president. And
so who gave us this clarification?
So it was Kojoga Dawudu. He was very clear and specific that he was filing for the president. It had 20 copies, and the 20 copies, it had 106 pages of written address, and then 20 copies of the appendix that contains the exhibit that were tendered in court to map up their case. So it was very clear and specific. So in the course of that, the Electoral Commission also came, and they also filed theirs. That is 19 copies, and then they have 15 pages of that. In all, they're supposed to file 16 pages, 15 copies in all. That will be served for the parties across. I remember I was around when I saw the EC official, and that's of Kojoga Dawudu himself, left the box of the petitioners. So, which means that they have been served, the registrar has served them with copies of what the petitioners had filed. And the same could be done to the other parties. Yeah.
All right, so we have on the line now Kojoga Dawudu. Well, let's find out quickly from him. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers.
All right, now we know that you filed your written address already, and so you're expecting to do some more on that tomorrow. How long do you expect this process to take?
If you could come again.
I'm saying that we understand that you filed your written address today, and you'll be doing a lot more on that tomorrow in court. Now, how long do you expect this process to take?
By law, I think that when we finish the trial, the court has about 15 days to give its ruling or judgment. And my expectation of the court is that within 15 days, they should do that. Now, with the Supreme Court rules also, the court has power. After filing your address, the court has power to ask whether you have something to add orally, or you want to summarize orally. It's the court that will give that direction. With this case that has come, there have been some novelties. So we will wait tomorrow. When we go, the court will give its directive, and we will see what the court would say.
Whether they will, right, go ahead.
Give us opportunity to make an oral summary of what we have filed, or the court will say they will go ahead and give us this for.
What you have filed, will a verbal, another verbal opportunity be necessary?
No, maybe the court, after looking at it, would say that can you clear some points, or can you make response to a point being raised by your opponent? So the court would want to ask that so that it can clear some points. Since we filed together, normally one party files first, give it to the other would read and also respond to issues that have been raised in their address. But we have filed together. And since we filed together, we've not had the opportunity to read what each other has, the exposition of the law each other has said, what will resonate with reason, what will resonate with the law.
Right.
So we will wait and see the direction the court will give tomorrow.
But let me quickly bounce this off Anil Sabute and come back to you. Anil Sabute, now you're telling me that the NDC were expected to file in their written address together with the President John Mahama, but it didn't happen. Now he's saying, now that he has done that, what are the implications?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I think if Victor could clarify it for us why the NDC was unable to file, because the impression we had was that they're going to do joint application with respect to filing of the written.
So now we're expecting some clarification from you, Mr. Kojoga. Would you be able to clarify to us?
I think that it is normal with our practice that when the court gives you time to file and you are not able to file it, you can go for extension from the court to tell them the time you want to file.
All right.
It's just that we were very sure we were going to file this evening, but we just don't want to get a jumble of paper and send to the court. We really need to put what exactly we want to put before the court. And I can say that tomorrow morning we should be able to do it. It's normal with our practice as lawyers.
Okay.
When you have not really be able to meet the deadline, you can just go to the court, seek their permission,
and ask for an extension.
Yeah, so I hope we will do that before the court would sit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kojoga Dawudu, there speaking to us. Now, let me quickly wrap up with Anil Sabute. So, what else? Let's say tomorrow, what are we supposed to expect, for instance, at the court? Well,
I think from what has happened today, for example, so I mean, I expect the petitioners will going to come up and raise their own reservations about it. Also, tomorrow, remind you that there's a review of an earlier case that had been filed by, with respect to the days that you remember that Bernard Mona went to the court and he won the case that the judges cannot sit on holidays and then even on weekends. On weekends, exactly. And Abu Ramadan on the PNC is challenging that. So I suspect that tomorrow that case might be called before this particular the judges come to sit again for directions. Yeah.
Right. All right, so we'll probably be expecting much more days than the 15 days that the law gives, but we never know. But thank you very much, Anil Sabute, for your time. He has been following this case since it started in court. But let's move on with other stories now. Minister of Information and Media Relations, Mahama Ayariga, says the Attorney General has completed work on the Right to Information Bill and signed it off to the government printer. He told journalists at today's Meets the Press the bill should be laid before Parliament returns from recess.
And I'm reliably informed that Attorney General has finished everything and signed it off to the government printer, so that by the time Parliament starts sitting or gets recalled, we will be able to lay it and then start the process all over again of trying to enact it through the parliamentary process. We're also working on the broadcasting law, just left GBC, and we need to have the broadcasting law completed by the Attorney General's department and then go through cabinet and also passed.
President John Mahama has directed the Attorney General and Minister of Justice to improve the capacity of state attorneys and implement supervisory measures to make the department more efficient. The directive is believed to be aimed at stemming a string of legal losses and gaffes which have cost the state enormously by way of inordinate judgment debts. Deputy Information and Media Relations Minister Murtala Mohammed, who announced this to the Presidential Press Corps at the Flagstaff House, also indicated the Ministry of Finance will shortly settle debts owed contractors for services rendered to the state. According to the Deputy Minister, the President is of the opinion the capacity building exercise would not just improve justice delivery, but also access to legal services by all persons. The AG is also to develop a scheme to increase funding to the department and an automated system to track cases and attendance of state attorneys in court.
Part of the reforms is to develop effective administrative and management system for the legal system in Ghana. Attendance in court and attitude to work schedule, in addition to digital record keeping, to ensure the maintenance of accurate records of government cases. It is expected that a retooled system at the Attorney General's office will effectively and efficiently link up with all government departments and provide them the services needed to guarantee a better public service and finance management capabilities.
He explains the rationale.
The Minister of Justice, even the Chief Justice themselves, everybody has expressed concern that there is the need for something to be done to improve the capacity of the people at the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Because you would find cases, the government has lost cases because lawyers fail to turn up, or they turn up in the kind of, if you like, defense they make on behalf of government is something that is not encouraging. Not because they are not lawyers, but naturally the capacity is not something that is so encouraging. So there is the need for something to be done to improve upon this. The Attorney General, what they have done is that they have a team that goes around the court every day to find out which of their lawyers turn up for cases.
On the Finance Ministry's assurance to contractors, the Deputy Minister could not say exactly when the monies will be paid out, but indicated the payments may come in a month or two.
Contractors who did work, particularly roads and education, they will be paid very soon. And we all know that once contractors are paid, there will be an injection of liquidity in the market. Maybe possibly within next month or this month, they will be paid. What I can tell you without any doubt is that they will be paid.
He expressed government appreciation to the respective contractors for their patience. The road contractors had early this year called for an increase in the road fund levy, complaining bitterly about government's delay in paying them for services rendered. Gifty Andwapia, Joy News, Flagstaff House. The Media Foundation for West Africa will from August 1st resume its daily monitoring of expressions used in key programs on 26 radio stations across the country. This, according to the foundation, is to enhance professionalism and reduce the incidence of hate speech and pro-violence expressions in the media.
As gatekeepers, some responsibility falls on the media to continue remaining neutral in its reportage during and after the Supreme Court verdict in order to avoid inflaming passions. Deputy Director at the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima, explains the rationale for the monitoring.
There are anxieties about what would happen after the court's verdict. Would our media remain quite professional? Would the platform of the media be used as, platforms for discussions and analysis and understanding exactly what went into the verdict of the Supreme Court? We are doing this exercise in response to the public demand that the media should be playing a very important role. When the court finally comes out with a verdict, the media should again play an important role in ensuring that we continue to live in peace and in stability as a country.
The project will involve daily monitoring of expressions used by politicians and activists in discussing and commenting on the proceedings and ruling. A similar monitoring was adopted to name and shame offenders in the run-up to the 2012 elections. The exercise, which is being carried out with funding from Star Ghana and in collaboration with the National Media Commission and Ghana Journalists Association, will span over the next 3 months and will also involve activities aimed at sensitizing the public to accept the verdict in good faith. For Joy News, Marian Toure reporting.
A preliminary report from a clinical examination conducted on parents who kept their children indoors for years has confirmed they are suffering from schizophrenic paranoia. Chief Psychiatrist Dr. Akwesi Osei had said earlier the parents could be suffering from the psychological disorder. Medina Dofsu Commander ASP Christine Sofenyo revealed the diagnostic impression for the parent states that there is possible underlying paranoid thinking with depression conditions. ASP Sofenyo says the report also recommended further psychological examination for the couple. The 3 kids, aged 8, 6 and 2, were rescued by the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit of the Ghana Police Service at Medina, a suburb of Accra, last Friday under serious insanitary conditions. They had almost been under the care of their stay-at-home dad, who apparently gave them some form of education at home, so that even though they had never been to school, at least the first one could express himself quite well in English language. The children are currently in the custody of social services. The ongoing registration for national ID cards at WA in the Upper West region has drawn large numbers of prospective applicants since the exercise began. Rafiq Salam reports many of the applicants are rushing to ensure they beat the 10-day deadline for the registration, which has been compounded because of the limited number of centres for the entire region.
Apart from the heavy downpour in the region, which nearly disrupted the exercise on the first day, registration officials told Joy News they have not encountered any major challenge. The 10-day registration exercise was pushed from last week Monday to Wednesday because of a delay in relocating logistics and personnel from the northern region. The long queues are everywhere, with some forming in the very early hours of the day. A visit to the WA Circuit Court Registration Centre saw several people still lined up, patiently waiting for their turn. The registration officer, John Bosco Dong, said they have registered more than 600 people in the last 5 days and still have more to go. He, however, believed most of the people are coming from areas where they are yet to reach.
The challenges are that the people are coming many, and we have only 2 people here, and it's a hell of a problem for us. And also our machines are not working well, especially the batteries are not good. So each time we have problems with the batteries of the machines that we are using.
At the Kambali Temporal Booth A, which is the largest registration center in the municipality, the registration officer, Adam Abdul Rahman, told Joy News so far they have registered about 800 people. This 73-year-old woman, Hajia Churi, and 54-year-old man, Jeremy Ofuchu, shared their experience.
after so ka yel yang to purum ina yel mbecha yel ibu mbechi ulo ki yin ki abata to na kuma yel ya abata to kuma abada ba mo sola yel ka bi ko ale ko ida ko nya yel di jimu to ndo bi do be to ndo
It would be useful in my own case perhaps an additional identification because I already have identification in terms of a passport, national health insurance, an ID from my workplace, local, and this one is an additional one. And being a national thing like the health insurance to be useful to me when the needs will arise.
Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
You're still watching the Primetime Bulletin here on Joy News. Still to come, we'll tell you how the Constitution Review Commission Implementation Committee is contemplating granting paternity leave for the very first time. We'll return shortly. You're welcome back. The Buffalo units of the police service in Kumasi have shot and killed a suspected armed robber in a crossfire while another was arrested. About 3 others managed to escape. The police have since launched a manhunt for them. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin has more.
At 10 a.m. Tuesday morning, the suspected robbers stormed the Jabin Rural Bank at Fomusia in the Ashanti region and made away with an unspecified amount of money. Police in Kumasi received information and immediately dispatched 2 teams to the scene. At the time the police arrived, the robbers had left the bank premises. The 2 teams then began a pursuit using the Pankoso and Antwa roads. The team which used the Antwa road met the robbers at Kenyase, but the robbers abandoned the Hyundai Sonata private car with registration number GS239113, which was used in the robbery and bolted with the money. In an ensuing crossfire between the police and the robbers, one of them was hit in the upper body. Another, Abdullah Husseini alias Minjima, was arrested. 1 pump-action gun, a foreign pistol, 7 live cartridges, 1 pellet and 5 mobile phones were retrieved from the robbers. According to the police, the pump-action gun was seized from the security personnel on duty at the bank. DCOP Augustine Jennings expressed worry about the development and advised banks to engage the services of well-trained security personnel. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin's report for Joy News.
Away from the Ashanti region, the Bunahafo Regional Hospital has taken delivery of a multi-purpose mobile clinic van to enhance its medical outreach programs. The van, a donation from the Michigan Technology University from the United States, has over 30 different medical components, including an ultrasound machine and a generator. It is worth over $700,000. It will be used for medical outreach services in the remotest and most deprived communities of the region where there are no health facilities.
The mobile clinic van is a project of some students of the Michigan Technology University who are currently doing their 5-week outreach practicals in the region. 4 of the students and their 2 professors handed over the van to the Bunahafo Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran, who in turn handed over the van to the management of the regional hospital. The medical director, Dr. Jacob Abebrese, commended Dr. Emmanuel Pinifrempong, a former student of the Michigan Technology University, for facilitating the gesture. He says would be extremely beneficial to the regional hospital and other deprived communities in the region.
So the van will be equipped in such a way that even in a deprived community where there's no electricity, they have a generator on it. They could do basic laboratory and diagnose certain common conditions. And then look at how the health expert on the van, not from abroad but local ones that join the van, could take care of the minor issues, and then the bigger ones refer to the district and then to the regional hospital.
Speaking to Joy News, Professor Andrew Storer of the Michigan Technology University said they started working with the Forestry Department and the University of Science and Technology a year ago and urged their administrators to use the facility for the intended purpose.
in my opinion, very good facilities, and where they have difficulty is reaching out into the remote villages to be able to bring medical care to the people before it's too late, and to diagnose those that have serious medical problems to be able to bring them back to a nice facility such as this.
Nesta Kafuya Jomes report for Joy News.
The Parliamentary Select Committee on Roads and Transport has raised concerns about the proximity of the tarmac of a workshop belonging to the Chinese construction firm building a road adjacent to the Kotoka International Airport. The committee says at less than 50 meters to the tarmac, the workshop siting has safety implications. The company was contracted by the Urban Roads to construct a road from the Bemakam Junction to link the Spintex Road to East Traffic.
According to the managing director of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, Doreen Owusu Fianku, efforts to remove the contractors have failed.
The first time we noticed, it was a big shock to us because in the past all those places were full of trees. It was just some kind of a mini forest. I was landing one day when I noticed this construction work going on. And I made the necessary overtures to the appropriate authorities. We were told that Urban Roads were in charge. We went to see them, the Air Force, National Security. We came here, and there was a general discussion and consensus that it would be ideal for them to relocate to the other side of the road because this facility is right within the inner perimeter fencing of the airport, and it's a serious, security breach.
This the members considered worrying and made a pledge to help resolve the matter.
I'm surprised that as a nation we have compromised security so much that we've allowed the road contractor, it's a Chinese company, to pitch its camp so close to the runway of the airport. And even as we stand here, you could see some of the airplanes parked. It's easy for someone to shoot or do anything bizarre to any aircraft that will be landing or parked. So, as a matter of urgency, the contractor has to be relocated so that security at the airport will be strengthened. What we are seeing here is an eyesore, and I don't believe it's good enough for us as a nation.
The Ghana Airport Company Limited has made some improvements at the airport, constructing a new apron to attract larger and bigger aircrafts. New terminals are also under construction to help decongest the airport that has seen growth in passenger patronage shoot up to over 200% within a year. Extension works on the tarmac will soon start to get it ready for the air show to be organized in 2014 by the Ghana Airport Company Limited. Meanwhile, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, is strategizing to ensure safety of passengers.
We have gotten into some form of collaboration with major organizations like the ICAO, the IATA, and major institutions, training institutions all around the world, Singapore Aviation Academy, so that we can team up. We can team up and do the training together. Because you have equipment to find the position of aircraft at any given time. So when we talk about the safety of our airspace, these are the things that we are talking about: equipment and personnel, and how we perform.
Checks conducted by Joy News indicate there are talks with KLM to use one of their aircrafts as the national airline.
Now, Ghana's labor laws are being amended to allow men enjoy paternity leave for the first time. The Constitution Review Commission, which recommended the leave, says working mothers will also enjoy an additional 4 weeks as maternity leave. The chairman of the CRC Implementation Committee, Professor Evo Dankwa, announced these as some of the recommendations being implemented in the short term to benefit citizens.
Constitutional Review Commission Implementation Committee, appointed in the latter part of last year, has been at work to see to the implementation of some of the recommendations. The announcement of the time off work for both parents of newborns, however, stood out as the most interesting. The committee's chairman explained at the Meet the Press series, considerable work has been done for working parents to enjoy the leave.
Gender equity dictated that men should have a little of this facility. It is to the following effect: a male worker on production of a medical certificate issued by a medical practitioner or a midwife is entitled to paternity leave after the birth of his child for a period of 5 working days. It is not an encouragement to increase the population of our country unduly. A male worker on paternity leave is entitled to be paid his full remuneration. This memorandum with the accompanying bill has been signed by the minister, has been placed at the appropriate quarters for consideration by Cabinet and onward transmission to Parliament. Productivity is equally important. After taking all of this into consideration, we think that it's a fair balance to give just 5 days. 5 days. It will help.
Some working men Joy News spoke to are already excited by the news, though they wished they had more days.
Women have been fighting for equal rights. This is one particular law which, if it comes into force, will give men a little, bit, a piece of the cake that women have been agitating for equal rights for male and females. 5 days, 5 days is it's a token, and it's kind of just begging the actual issue, because when women deliver, they need, help at home for some time. And I think 10 days would have been more appropriate.
The way I relate with a child is just like the way the mother also relates to the daughter as well. So I think it's a very good idea that they have now, or they are now trying to acknowledge how fathers also, actually care for their children. I believe it's a very laudable idea, and I think the government should go ahead and speed up the process.
The working mothers should also be equally excited for their working partners and also for the extra 4 weeks they are to enjoy.
So that is the issue that's trending on our Facebook war. A hot issue today, Ghana's labor laws are being amended to allow men enjoy paternity leave for the first time, albeit just 5 working days. Women will also now enjoy up to 16 weeks instead of the current 12 weeks. So keep your comments coming. Log on to Facebook right now and let's hear what you think. But up next is Business News.
Joy News Business is brought to you in association.
Let's do some business now. The Finance Ministry has put a freeze on recruitments by metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. The payrolls of the MMDAs will also be audited each month to ensure those who do not deserve salaries are not inadvertently paid. The measures were announced at a training program for budget officers as part of efforts to reduce local expenditure and to also get the MMDAs operate a composite budget along with the central government.
The need to manage public finances cannot be downplayed in the face of ballooning government budget deficits. The Finance Ministry is currently running a fiscal decentralization reform to ensure efficient and effective management of public resources. The ministry admits the introduction of the single spine salary payment structure has inflated the expenditure of MMDAs, underscoring the need to audit the recruitment and emolument system.
We are saying that our wage bill has become the single most insignificant part of our expenditure. So we need to pay more attention to it. I mean, we can't have business as usual where we are recruiting people, getting them onto the payroll, and because their wage bill is so high, we don't have money to buy the basic tools that they need to do work. So we recruit people who do not have enough resources to do the work that they have been recruited to do. So unlike the past where we paid wages and salaries, irrespective of whether the people are where they say they are, whether they are doing what they said they should be doing, whether they have been properly recruited, we want to move away from that. Before we pay salaries, we want to go through some process to ensure that the people we are going to pay are actually people that we should be paying in the first place.
As part of the reforms, MMDAs are to change the budget structure from activity-based to program-based, which will allow them explain the costs of their programs to the central government in a composite budget. The ministry therefore brought together budget officers from the various assemblies to school them on running the new budget structure. The new system is to ensure transparency and help government streamline funds disbursed to MMDAs.
Because we don't have a robust system or robust data to basically capture all this and be able to centralize things, we usually found ourselves in a situation where you have things that have not been budgeted for, things that the center doesn't know, but it's been executed on behalf of government. As a result of that, we end up as a ministry not being able to make provision for certain things. And when you don't make provisions for things, then it becomes arrears. And then when it escalates, it becomes part of our deficit.
A manual on running a composite budget has also been made available to all MMDAs.
The National Communications Authority will soon put in place a mechanism to regulate the transmission of unsolicited text messages to mobile phones. It follows complaints by subscribers who say the messages announcing mainly promotions from their networks have become quite irritating in recent times. The NCA is hoping the Code of Conduct should check the practice.
Drivers have been at the receiving end of these text messages, from promotions to alert on service upgrades, among others. A significant chunk of the messages have also come from third parties using the platform to advertise their goods and services. Sector Minister Dr. Edward Omane-Boamah, at a recent Meet the Press series, noted the NCA has come out with some interventions to manage such unsolicited text messages. Director General of the NCA, Parok Van Persie, gives some details about the yet-to-be-outlawed code.
Once it kicks in, you should be able to send unsolicited text messages only within the hours of 8 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. at night. So beyond 7 p.m. at night, nobody should be sending you an unsolicited text message. Okay, that should also happen between Monday and Saturday. For promotional text messages that networks send to us, they can send us one promotion a day and a maximum of 3 in a month of the same promotion. Thankfully, the operators have all taken all of this in good faith, and once we roll all of this out, we expect to see a more sanitized regime in terms of unsolicited text.
The sector minister also announced the government was making arrangements for 3 additional switching routes to improve internet connectivity on mobile phones. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Communications has launched 2 separate events to be held in Ghana. The International Telecoms Union Regional Development Forum, slated for October 2013, and the Africa Regional Development Conference due in April 2014. The events will serve as platforms for dialogue among information communication technology players, regulators, and others.
Through these meetings, Ghana is once again not only reaffirming its commitment to multi-stakeholder engagement in international ICT agenda setting, but also availing opportunity for local and indigenous ICT practitioners to familiarize with best practices, as well as providing avenue for technology transfer and business partnerships.
A 10-member committee was also inaugurated to plan the 2 events and are expected to bring out a report 2 months after the event ends.
The new Vodafone Ghana CEO, Harris Bromidis, has described the company's number 2 position on the telecoms landscape as an opportunity to offer better services to subscribers. In an exclusive interview with Joy Business, he indicated the penetration of smartphones and broadband makes Ghana's market competitive. And that's it for business. Market data is next.
For the very latest in the world of sports, the life patron and owner of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, Otumfuo Sayti II, has dissolved the 12-member board of the Porcupine Warriors. The Ashanti King has also appointed former player and ex-Ghana international Opoku Nti as interim chief executive of the club.
Latest intelligence gathered by Joy Sports from the Meisha Palace revealed that former Asante Kotoko and Black Stars captain Samuel Opoku Nti, together with the club's accountant and head coach, Masoud Didi Dramani, have been tasked to handle the day-to-day affairs of the club. This follows a meeting between the trio and the Asantehene this morning at the Mesha Palace in Kumasi. According to our sources, the former Kotoko legend and club accountant Charles Opoku, who are both signatories to the club's account, have been appointed as chief executive and head of finance respectively for now. Opoku Inti, until his latest appointment, has been for the past 3 years the special assistant to Kotoko's executive chairman, Dr. KK Sapon, who recently resigned from the club. Head coach Masoud Dramani has been given the blessing to continue his job and will be the head of technical directorates of the club.
So the soap opera ongoing in the Kumasi-based club will be under review, and we'll definitely be keeping you posted up to date, definitely everything that happens there. We can now do hockey, and the junior female Black Sticks lost their third game on the throat in the ongoing FIH Hockey Junior Women's World Cup in Germany. Ghana played a much more improved game but failed to defend and score, leaving the hockey sleeping giants, the USA, to beat them 6-0. This brings to a total number of 25 goals scored against Ghana in the 3 group games so far. Per the tournament rules, Ghana would have to play 2 more games together with other teams that finished in the bottom half of their respective groups for placement and ranking at the end of the tournament. Netherlands, who beat Korea Republic 2-0 in the other game, will sail through to the quarterfinal stage of the competition together with the USA. A very bad story for Ghana in hockey over there, but that will be all for sports tonight. My name is George Adejunior. Do have a good night. You have to join us with some more.
Sports was brought to you in association with...
Okay, ambition is there, but let me tell you about what you've been telling us on our Facebook wall. We're telling you, we asked you about the 5-day paternity leave that will be given to fathers, and these are the comments. Let me quickly rush through it and bring you some because of time. Okay, so Baba says, this is a good idea if only it is applicable and feasible, but the big question is how enough are 5 working days. Bonti Benjamin says it's not a bad idea, but have they assessed its implication on the economy? Frederick says, I'd love to be around my wife and my new baby, but for just a week is too short. If the woman needs 16 weeks, so why not at least about half of that for the man? And Fifi says, I think it should be increased to up to 10 days. 5 days is not enough. Thomas says it's good. It's good news, but 5 days is too small. Maybe 3 weeks would have been better. And Kujoji, who I end with, says it's a laudable idea, but 5 days is not enough. Lots and lots of your comments there, but you can log on to our Facebook wall and check those comments out for yourself. But interestingly, all of you men want many more days. Well, that's how we wrap up for tonight. But our top stories: parties in election petition comply with the Supreme Court direction.